Alrighty, hello everyone. I'm Elena. I'm the coach of the Brattleboro Braylooms. Here's gonna be my little, just a little tier list of the teams that the Miraidon division. Now that the draft is completed, um, yeah, just gonna get it out of the way. I might have some hot takes. I might annoy some people. This is all in fun. I'm not trying to diss anybody specifically. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so first team, the 413 Ursa Rings versus 1413X. That's probably a reference in there somewhere. It's over my head. Alright, let's put this into the sheet real quick so I can see everything here. Yeah, so off rip, I really like this team's like core. I like this. I like the Sneezer, I like the Dragonite, I like the King Gambit. I think those are three mons I thought was gonna go in the first round. So all three of them on one team seems really strong. Around that, I'm not 100% convinced. Just sort of. Also, I don't know why Basculeton's not working here. Hold on. See if I can fix that. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm not super convinced about the rest of this team. Like, it's sort of my thoughts just like looking at it earlier. Like, I like obviously those three. Those are your big three, and then like I really like the Electabuzz. I think it's a good like combo to that sort of physical coaching core. Like it's just like after you have something set up, you have your late game, and then outside of that, it kind of falls off. I think Gothitelle feels like a decent pick. It was a little expensive. I think. How much was it? It was 14, so it's not too expensive, but it's definitely up there. And I don't know if it fits perfectly. It's definitely nice to have like a fake out Trick Room user, but I don't know if like I'm not very convinced in the Trick Room mode in this team. I don't think. Like I think Basculegion female is a little fast. Like you have the Orthworm, you have the King Gambit, you have the Grand Bull, you have the Lurantis, but like I feel like if you're bringing like two out of these mons, I don't think you're winning the game. Like just purely off of stat difference. Like Grand Bull's one of those mons that like I don't really trust it. Has a good attack stat and intimidate and not much else. Relying on player off a lot. So it makes me feel like it's gonna be difficult to get it set up and actually like consistently putting out damage. So let me close the Discord so I don't get notifications. Yeah. So I think this team's core is really strong though. I think like at the end of the day you're bringing six, picking four. So like I feel like any game you go into with these four right here is going to be a pretty good shot at winning. I think around that you might have a couple tough matchups. I'd have to see like exactly what the matchups are to make a call on that. But I do think it is a strong team despite like some of the weaker drafting towards the end, I believe. Yeah, so I think what team is this? Or what logo is this? This was Alex 413 Ursa Lunas. So I think I'd still put them like a solid B tier. I think that core is enough to bring them to B tier, even I'm not super convinced on the rest of the team. All right, second up, we'll go with Pengi. Doesn't have a logo, but it's a Zurich Samazintas. So let's copy this over and take a look. So first off, let me see let's check in the order. So Goldingo, phenomenal Pokemon. Clefable, Porygon 2, Rotom Wash. I think this team is really, really nasty. Just like that initial core is very, very strong. You have really strong you have really strong Trick Room mode, but Goldingo is still like fast enough to do some like Scarf stuff. Same with an Excadrill, or like you don't even really need to run Scarf. You can run a damage boosting and still get away with it. The Fletchender, does Fletchender still get Gale Wings? I'm pretty sure, right? I honestly don't 100% remember that. Yes, it does. So like you still do have like a quote unquote Prankster Tailwind option. Altaria is interesting. Like it's obviously it's for like the rain matchups where you can't really bring Hippowdon with no Terra. Also speaking of, I didn't mention it earlier. There is no Terra, so going back to Alex's team for a second, Dragonite is a good mon. However, I think it's one of the mons that's hurt the most by having no Terra. Like not being able to do like a Terra Flying Terra Blast or a Terra Normal E-Speed is like really hurts that mon. But I do still think it is a strong Pokemon overall. So back to Pengi's team. We'll go over here for a sec. I think this team is really strong. I mean, obviously Pengi's a phenomenal builder, phenomenal player, so I trust him in this team. I think every pick has has a value. I'm seeing I'm not seeing any mons that are never gonna get brought, something like that. Like Altaria is like a niche pick, but it's still gonna show up. Scrafty's a really good mon, especially for the value. Hippowdon's just like a weather setter that's just like it mainly exists it may exist for Excadrill, and it also exists just to shut down opposing weathers, and I think it does that job fairly well, like similar to Altaria, but sort of picking your own instead, especially when you have like Magikarp and Clefable, as well as like Cleaver being immune, stuff like that. So yeah, I think this is a really, really strong team. Like, Rotom Wash is a really good pickup here. It just adds to that, like, defensive core of it. Clefable, Porygon 2, like, that is, there's some nasty stuff to just, like, try and break here. Like, just the recovery between these three, plus, like, the Will-O-Wisp lefty's recovery on, like, a Rotom Wash is just really, really nasty. Plus, just chipping stuff down with the Golden Go and the Excadrill and the Cleaver is just... I think this seems really, really nasty. I think Pengy did a phenomenal job here. I think it's probably going to be an S tier from me. I guess I'll have to see the rest of the teams to see how high in the S tier it is, but I think it is definitely an S tier team. Next up, we have Undead Paradox, the Northern Noiverns. Got a tongue twister here. Liam brings them back for another year. Alright, let's copy this over real quick. I don't know what the errors were, but it seems like it's working anyways. Okay, so, I mean, Dragapult, Mienshao, Weavile, 3 very fast, just offer it, first 3. 3 very fast mons, very good offensively. Like, it seems like a very strong core and just like it's a very like hyper offense core, and then you later have like the Slowking, the Gliscor, and really just like slow stuff down and can be phenomenal. I mean, this seems similar. I think pretty sure Liam had both Slowking and Gliscor last year, and I mean they did pretty well with them, so it seems pretty good to me. Toxtricity's mon that's like always been interesting to me, but I'm curious to see how they make it work. Like it's a mon that like can definitely do something. It's just a matter of like how much can it do necessarily, especially like a format where you can't go Terra Normal Boom Burst, which like generally is really, really strong. But I mean, you do still have like Overdrive, and I forget the poison stabs it gets. It might just be Sludge Bomb or Sludge Wave. Tinkaton's strong. It's just a good support. Like I think it works for this team. I think you can do like Fake Out Trick Room stuff or whatever. Skeledirge is incredibly strong as well, especially like that typing is just without Terra is really, really good. Same with Snorlax, just lean into like that sort of Trick Room side of the team. Sentret exists. I think they said they mainly just picked it for like a follow me, like just Sash bot, which it does the job. It's cheap. Serperior, I've never really been super convinced on. I think it's a mon that like seems like it could be cool. Like contrary Leaf Storm is really, really good on paper, and just like I've never really seen it work in doubles, but I mean, you never know. Like I've seen, like, I don't remember who ran it last year, but I feel like somebody ran it last year and like they did okay with it. I don't think it's your main offense option most of the time, but it isn't that on this team, so it fills a role and it does that job fairly well. So yeah, I think this is a fairly strong team. I think I haven't mentioned Pult at all, but that's just obviously it's Dragapult. It does Dragapult things. It's fast. It can run other specs. It can run specs. It can run Band. It can run Life Orb. It can run whatever, and it'll be good. And without Terra, like it's even better, I think, because it's normally one of those mons that like doesn't really care about Terra. It runs like Terra Ghost just for more damage or something. So I think it's a really, really strong pick. So I think this team is definitely like, I don't know if it's as good as Pengy's. I think Pengy's team just seemed like so cohesive to me that like it just made sense. I think this team also makes sense, but it's not. I don't put it on quite the same level, but it is pretty high. I'm gonna definitely put it in high A tier for now. And we'll see. So I might adjust some stuff after. We'll see. All right. Next up, Theo. Theo's team is. We'll go over here and then take a look at the logo and everything. It says Zach on here, but I think Theo took over that spot. So let's paste that here and make sure this works. Oh, something funky's going on here. Hold on. I don't know what is going on here. Sorry. Okay, whatever. We'll just leave it. I know what the mons are. I know what they do. I can see that it says tough poison. You know, it's a ghost fire type. And you're fairy poison. Anyways, so let's see. Let's just take a look at the order of picking, just so I can sort of see what the vision was. Garchomp is really, really good as a 4th overall pick. I don't know if I'm entirely convinced on it, but it is a good mon. It does Garchomp things. It's done Garchomp things for a while. It's fast. It's strong. It does a lot of damage. It's Garchomp. The Mandibuzz 2nd pick I still don't really get. I think it was like it's good value for the points, but I think it's something that you could have gotten it later and you could have grabbed like just looking at the picks that were right after it. Like you got like, or I guess right before it'd be like a Mienshao, a Clefable, a Dragonite, a Kingambit, a Porygon 2. Like these are just a lot of mons that are like I think a much bigger impact on the team compared to like something like Mandibuzz, where like it might have one or two good matchups, but it's not really the value you're looking for out of like a second round pick, at least for me. At least when I build my teams, I try and like go like your early rounds are really where you want to build like your core and just like have everything like sort of support that rather than like going for the value picks early on. So I don't really fully see the vision with the Mandibuzz pick. I know it does get like fairly good utility. It's just very, very bulky, but it just, I don't know. I'm not super convinced. Next up, Hisui Typhlosion. I think that's a phenomenal pick. I think it's a really, really good value. Like 10 points for something that just clicks to Scarf Eruption and it will love every minute of it. Is just, sorry, my cat's clawing at the back of my chair right now. I think it's a really nice pick. I think that does like sort of like really give this team more of an identity. Kilowatchel, same thing. I think it's a really good mon. I think it's like it might be a little bit of reach at 4, but I don't think it's that much of reach. Like I think it does a job really well. It's a fast Tailwind user. It's does some fun stuff with just like has competitive, which is really nice. Also, what's the other one? Wind Power. It's another one that's really good. When you set Tailwind, you get more electric type damage. It loves that. Volt Absorb, like the 3 good abilities is always, I think, like having multiple good abilities you can run in draft, like, for me at least, is like just so much more you can do. Because like, for example, I think last season against me, John ran Sap Sip Fergraph, which like is just such like a, I don't know, it's something that like you don't even have to have all the abilities necessarily to be like the same level of good. It's just like as long as they're all viable, or at least like you have multiple viable abilities, it just makes the opponent like think so much more. Because it was like I think the first game like I never faked it out because you just assume it's Armor Tail, and it's like you click Woodhammer or whatever, and you don't, and it's immune, and it's just like one of those things that like it completely catches you off guard, and it completely like taking even like a game in the set off of that is just like so much momentum, and it's just so powerful. Galarian Wheezing, I think this makes a lot of sense once it comes to like the slaking. Like at first this pick doesn't make like a ton of sense to me because like a lot of your stuff here just wants its abilities, I think. Like Overcoat's really good. I guess Hisui Typhlosion doesn't really care. It's got like Blaze and Frisk, I think. Although Frisk is generally okay in draft. Garchomp doesn't really super care, I guess, either. But like Hitmontop cares, Clefairy cares, etc. But I think with the slaking pick later on, I think that does make sense. I am very curious to see how Slaking plus Wheezing does in this format. Like it is a bit lower power level than last season, so it can maybe take some wins. I think it will obviously have a lot of counterplay, but like just the nature of draft. But I think it is fairly good, and it is something that you have to respect when building against this. Hitmontop is a phenomenal Pokemon. Love that guy. Silly little guy, but he also has Fake Out Intimidate, so he's Incineroar before Incineroar. Clefairy, great late pickup. What round is that? Round 7. It's a phenomenal pickup that late. That's just like it's such a good mon. It's just such a good support. I think it's a great pickup. Arbolova is, I don't know if we'll see it that much. It's a cool mon. It has some cool stuff that it does, but I don't really see it. Magnezone is a great mon, just tanky, good damage. Like it's just straight really good mon. Bruxish. I think Bruxish is one of those mons that like I feel like, let me take a look at the stats real quick. I actually thought I guess 92 speed. I thought it was a little faster than that, but it's like, it's decent typing. You have Wave Crash. You have, I think you have Flip Turn. So like just sort of fast, decent damage, water type. Seems decent to me, at least later in the draft. Like I feel like that's a good value pick. Especially for, how much was it? 7? I think it's a fairly strong pickup. Overall though, I think with the Mandibuzz pick so early, I feel like this team does lose a lot of value off that. Like it is still a fairly strong team. It has some stuff going for it, but I think I do have to put it in like probably, we'll say C tier for now. I just have to check the logo real quick. But yeah, I'll probably say C tier on this one for now. And again, we'll see if it moves anywhere. Beantown, Binnacles. All right, next team, Jake, the Boston Blackjacks. All right, so let's take a look and I just like to look in order of like see who picked what order. So it was really yeah. So he immediately went for his Fire Water Grass Core, and I think that really pays off in a lot of matchups. Like it's just like those 3 are ones you always feel confident in bringing, like compared to like we'll say I'm just picking a random one here. Like say a team like Theo's where like you pick your grass type late, you pick your water type late, and it's like you're not really super confident in bringing your entire fire water grass core every game, but like something like really boom Primarina Arcanine is just like very strong pivots. Like if you're intimidate, you're just like tanking everything, and just like it's just very very strong, especially paired with like a Corviknight. Like it's just that defensive core looks really really strong to me. I think Jake knows that. That's why he prioritized it first. And I think he did a really good job with that. Primarina is a really good mon. Arcanine, really good mon. Rillaboom, disgusting. Mudsdale, the champion of last season, goes a lot earlier this time. I think it was like one of the later picks last year's draft, but Chris won with it. He showed what it can do, and I think people are respecting it a little bit more. Galarian Slowking, take a look at the stats real quick. Oh, it's not going to show me. Hold on. This isn't scuffed, I swear. Okay, so it's like not as physically bulky as I thought it would be, but it's still Slowking. Like I guess it's the same as base Slowking. I do usually respect base Slowking's typing a little more, but I think it is still good coverage for this team, especially because you already have the Primarina. I think it's a decent defensive pivot. I guess you do have a little bit of Trick Room mode here too. Like you have like the Mudsdale, you have the Conkeldurr, you have the Prim to a lesser extent, and then you have the Glowking. So I think it is like a cool like just additional piece of this team. I think it's one of those teams that like doesn't necessarily have to have Trick Room, but like when it pivots to a point where it gets a free turn, it can click Trick Room, and then it's like a little bit more threatening. I think that's something that's like pretty valuable here. The Goodra is something that like it's a really cool mon, like especially like AV Goodra and stuff like that. Like it's so especially tanky. It's almost like not quite on the level like a Blissey, but it's like a Blissey that can actually do some damage back, which is kind of an interesting thing. So yeah, I think this team is really really strong. I think Jake did a great job once again, and he built his core, and then he just like basically added the pieces that work for that core. I think Umbreon went late. I think Umbreon was actually his last pick, but I think it's still a really good addition here. Electivire is pretty cool. It's like it's got Follow Me like Electabuzz does obviously, and then I'm not sure what else crazy stuff does. I know it just has like decent coverage and sort of mixed attacker stuff, but or I guess it actually has way higher attack than I thought it did. So it is mostly physical, but you can run special sets on it. Like you get like Flamethrower, you get Volt Switch, you can have other things. So it is still like a fairly interesting mon, just based off like it has the stats, it has decent moves. So you have to respect it. So yeah, I think. The question is, do I put this one in S or A? It's either high A or low S to me. I think I'm gonna have to put it in. I think this is their second S tier. Just based on like how strong this is top to bottom. I think every single one of these mons like similar to Pengi, like every single one of these mons I can see getting brought at some point and having like pretty good value, especially here like his cheapest is an 8-pointer, and it makes sense because every single mon here is just like one that you see and you have to respect. That you can't build and ignore an Umbreon, you can't build and ignore a Goodra. Like it's something you have to respect building against this, and I think for that reason I think I have to put this in a low S tier. So the Boston Blackjacks, second S tier in the Miraidon division. All right, third up's Ronald, also bringing back a team from last season, the Waltham Watchdogs. So let's grab these in the order they drafted. Here we go. Ooh, that's a lot of mons we can't see the stats on, but it's fine. I can pull them up if we need to. So it's okay. So it's Archipelli stuff. You also have beat up Mouseholds, which is fairly interesting for this. But these are going to be your primary core most of the season. You also get the Swift Swim, Overquill, or Intimidate. Those are both another one like where you can run two abilities and both of them are good. And because they're both good, you get even more value out of those two abilities. So I think that is fairly good. But yeah, I mean, our Chaladon's definitely the focal, like the star of this team, and I think that's definitely gonna shine. Like you're gonna have beat up body pressure, you're gonna have just electro shot and rain. It's gonna be a lot of that kind of stuff. Florges is something. Florges is one of those mons that I think I always look at its stats and it's like, wow, this mon should be something that's really really good. Like it has like 550 BST and it has 154 special defense plus 78 HP. Like it should be something. I think it's just like its coverage kind of stinks. Like let's take a look. Especially with no Terra, you can't run a Terra Blast. You get some grass coverage, looks like. Yeah, I mean you get actually not really. Let's see if it gets anything via. I mean you get Pollen Puff, which is nice for like some stuff, I guess. Okay, yeah, you do get Energy Ball, you do get Giga Drain, so you do get the grass coverage. You get Psychic. Okay. I mean, you also get some fun, like, utility moves. You get Sunny Day, you get Rain Dance, Calm Mind. How you get Baton Pass, Helping Hand. Okay. So it does get some fun moves. It's just one of those mons that, like, I feel like on paper it should be better than it is. I think I've seen it get picked, like, most of the time, like, I'm pretty sure somebody picked it last year. And I don't remember it really doing anything. I could be misremembering, or just like I missed it. But it's just one of those mons that, like, feels like it should be more than it is. And actually, in that same regard, is Overquill. Like, I think it's, again, like, this stat line on paper, especially on a Swift swimmer. Sorry. It seems pretty good. Like, it's, especially on a Swift swimmer, like, you don't have too much of your speed points invested in speed, but you do have enough to, like, take advantage of Swift swim. You have decent attack. You have pretty good bulk, or at least on the physical side. Like, it feels like it should be mon that's just better than it is. But it's just like, I feel like I haven't really seen it do much. I think it can in the right comp. I think having a Swift swimmer that's not a water type is something that a lot of 18s were missing before Overcool was a thing, and I think that's a really, really interesting piece, like, about it as a Pokemon. Like, there's not many. It might be the only one. I don't really remember off the top of my head, and I'm not gonna spend more time searching for stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure it is, like, at least if it's not the only one, it's one of very few, like, non-water type Swift swimmers. A couple more Hisui mons. You got Hisui. Let me see if I can get this to work for Meowstic. Nope. It's fine. Hisui Electrode, Hisui Samurott. I think Hisui Electrode's really, really good here. I think, like, having a proper grass type as well as just, like, a fast electric type seems, like, I feel like it fits fairly well here, especially for, like, when you don't have rain up for your Electro Shot on our Chaladon. Just a way to quick Volt Switch, quick Leaf Storm, whatever. It does its job fairly well. Like, it's got the stats, it's got the speed, got the decent special attack. It's a fairly good mon. Hisui Samurott, a little bit biased because I also picked it myself in the Miraidon division, which I'll release that video probably tomorrow once the draft is completed. But there's another mon that I think is really, really good. Like, you get, like, it's just water coverage, like, dark type stabs. You get sharpness. It's kind of disgusting damage output. I think it's a really good mon. Meowstic Male. That's the one that Prankster. Yeah. So let me pull up those stats real quick and just see, like, take a quick look at what it gets. Meowstic Male. Yep. Yeah. So it gets Prankster, which is so sad for the girls out there. Just do her justice. But so Scarlet Violet, you get Fake Out. I knew about that. You get Quick Guard. You get like T-Wave and some other fun stuff. Yeah, T-Wave, you get both screens. It's pretty good. You get a lot of, just looks like general special coverage, which seems pretty decent for it. You get Shadow Ball, you get Psychic, you get T-Bolt, you get Energy Ball, Dark Pulse, etc., etc., etc. It's just a fairly decent one. I think it is for a 8th pick. I think that's a pretty strong pick. Armor Rouge, I'm not entirely sold on, especially on a rain team. Like, especially you're on a rain team and you don't have any Psychic Terrain for E-Force, so it doesn't seem like something that's insanely strong to me. So I'm not entirely sure what the plan is here. Like, you can probably, I guess you have some, like, probably U-turn or something, or U-turn beat up maybe with weak armor, but probably not. But you could bring us something like weak armor stuff. Weak armor, weak policy, although you can't Terra to be weak to U-turn. So it is a little weaker. And then Hisui Decidueye is a mon that I think it has some potential, honestly. It's pretty slow if I remember quickly. Let's take a quick look. This was Decidueye. But yeah, it's 60 base speed, grass fighting. It's an okay spread. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing. I mean, you have decent bulk, 88 HP, 80 defense, 95 SPDF. It's fairly decent. You probably wish some of that special attack was an attack instead, but you get, like, Leaf Blade, Triple Arrows, which is an interesting move. Triple Arrows is pretty fun, right? That's yeah, high crit rate, chance to learn defense, flinch chance, etc. It's a very fun, like, just a fun move. The flinch chance kind of stinks when you're so slow, but it is still a fun move. So I think this team overall is, like, it's fairly cohesive. I think, like, it's very clearly a rain team. There's some stuff that, like, points that it's not a rain team, like an Armor Rouge, but I think overall, like, you are going to see most weeks this team is going to be a rain team, just by nature. If you don't bring Pelipper, it's going to be beat up arch stuff. So I think it is a fairly strong team. I think it's probably, I'm going to say low A tier. We'll see, like, where that ends up panning out. So let me take a look, make sure I'm getting the right logo. Let's get the Waltham Watchdogs. Alright, so we're gonna say low A tier for now. Alright. So next team is ZL, the Ottawa Oshawotts. I like that, it rolls off the tongue very nicely. So let's pull up that roster real quick. Ooh, immediately, I think this is one of like when the draft or when the things were first coming out. I was just looking through like the people's first couple picks. I think that duo is incredibly strong. Like Fergaref Blood Moon is just Fergaref is one of those ones that I think last year went in the first round. So having those two paired together is really really strong. I think you support it pretty well with Vivillon. Like you can do Tailwind stuff and go like a fast bear as well. I think just like the tricker mode obviously is very very strong. Even if it's just like your only real abuser. Just looking at this real quick. The only real abuser is Blood Moon, so I think you are going to be seeing a lot of fast bear stuff. But I think that's fine. I think fast bear is pretty good, especially when you have Tailwind. Basque Legion Male, I had them on last year, and it's pretty strong. I had it on a rain team, so it is going to be a little different. Like this is probably going to be a Scarf Adaptability type team rather than like I was Banded Swift Swim. But it is a fairly strong mon, like especially you have last respect stuff. So you just use your Blood Moon Trigger mode to clean up most of the team, something like that. And then like when those two don't go down, you have a boosted last respects in the background. You also have just like Wave Crash, Flip Turn, Scarf Adaptability. Paldean Tauros is pretty strong. I think it fits. I think it fits the team fairly well. It gives you just like part of your Fire, Water, Grass core. You get your Intimidate user. There's not a ton to say about it. You can set up stuff with it, although you don't really see that too much. You can like bulk up. It's a fun mon. I think it's fairly strong. Yeah, so Lazel, it's just the fake out user on this team. So Lazel's, I don't know. It's like it always takes their sash, which always feels kind of like stinky. It feels kind of stinky, especially when you have like something like a Vivillon that also really really likes the sash. So it is like kind of an iffy one, because like it's got no bulk basically. So you have to be running a sash on this thing unless you just want it to click a fake out and die. But it is an interesting pick. Like it was a later in the draft pick, so it is just like a decent fake out user. And later we'll get to I think the better fake out user on this team. But first you have Hydreigon. It's another Tailwind user and just an overall strong special attacker. Like it's the second fastest mon on this team, so it is fairly strong, or at least, yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is second fastest. Walkability might be faster. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it is pretty fast. It does its job. It does a lot of damage. It's Hydreigon. We've known it. We've seen this guy for a couple gens now. We know what he does. Clicks Draco Meteor, clicks Dark Pulse. Loves doing it. That's his job. He's pretty good at it. Thwackey. I think that's really a huge piece of this team. I think Thwackey is insanely strong. It's just like, especially like with, I think it went pretty late in both the drafts, but it's just a very very strong like mini Rillaboom. It takes her Eviolite, which kind of stinks, but it is just like, it's really strong. It's just you have your like Woodhammer even on a lower attack stat. Woodhammer in terrain is going to do a lot of damage. Like, you still have U-turn, you still have glide, you still have fake out. Like it's a really good mon. It sells the coverage that Rilla has, at least for the most part. I think if I remember correctly, it doesn't get something. It might be high horsepower, but you still get like a Stomach Tantrum, so it's still fairly decent in that regard. So I think it is a really strong mon. Squawk ability, I'm going to double check the stats on real quick. And I think they drafted, it was green, yes, so we'll take a look at that real quick. Yeah, it's the one with Intimidate, it's the one with Hustle and Guts as well. So, I mean, you're hopefully not going to see Hustle. But Intimidate and Guts are both fairly good, especially because you do get like Facade and you get Brave Bird. Both stab with Guts. So it's fairly strong. You get Parting Shot, I believe. Do you get Final Gambit, or is that just... Yeah, you do get Final Gambit. I wasn't sure if that was just Staraptor. And you get Parting Shot. You probably get U-Turn as well. Let me double check that. Yes, you do get U-Turn. So I think this is a fairly decent pick. I'm assuming you also get Tailwind. Yes. Yeah, so it is just another Tailwind user to set up your final mon, which is Shiftry. Your Tailwind abuser, you have Wind Rider. And it's just another mon that kind of wants Sash. So it's another one that's going to be competing with Vivillon and Salazzle for that Sash. But I think it is a fairly strong mon, especially this late when you have 3 Tailwind users. Or, yeah, three Tailwind users, so getting a Wind Rider mon does seem fairly valuable. So I think it is pretty decent here. Just looking at the type matchups, is there anything that's really scaring me? Not really. I mean, I guess you don't really have a good answer for flying types, but you do have like a Blood Moon still. Like, it's not going to take that much damage from like a Brave Bird, because it's just so tanky. You don't have a resist. So I think this team is fairly strong. Like that mode right there with just the Ursa Luna plus Fergref seems really strong to me. I think that alone is enough to put it in A tier, especially like when the rest of the teams put around it and the rest of the team is fairly strong. So I think that alone is enough for me to put this team up in the A tier. Let me double check the logo real quick for the Ottawa Oshawotts. There we go. Yeah, so I think, is it high? Is it low A or high B? Is my only question, because it might actually be high B, and we'll see where that sort of falls toward the end. But I think I am actually leaning towards putting it in the high B tier. Yeah, we'll go with it. We'll go with that for now, and if I feel like adjusting that later, I might. We'll see. No promises. All right, next up, we have Patrick. Patrick's team. The do I attempt the pronunciation? I'm so sorry if I completely obliterate this. The Guaynabo, something like that. So sorry. The Golurks. However, I can see this. The Sun team, and I think weather teams are always interesting to me in draft. Like I built a rain team last year, and then I pivoted away from it towards the end of the year. But I think like specific like weather teams they can be really easy to build around. Like they can make drafting really easy because you're just looking for the abusers. Like you're looking for, you get Volk, you get your Venusaur, you're like, okay, I want a Sunsetter here. You get Torkoal, and then like later on in the draft, you're like, okay, like so now that I have a Torkoal and I took a Bronzong and set Trick Room for it. What else do I get? I get an Amoonguss, I get a Rhyperior. I think getting Amoonguss, first of all, getting Amoonguss that late in the draft seems insane to me, especially when you have a good Trick Room setter. So I think that's really strong. I think the Blaziken pick up, I'm not super convinced on. It's one of those mons that like feels like it should be better than it is. Rhyperior is very strong though. Golurk is very strong, very underrated. Crocodile's phenomenal mon. Your main like Sun Core is pretty strong as well. Like Volcarona is nasty. You don't have any redirection for it, do you? Actually, no, you do. Amoonguss. I lied there. Sorry. So you do have a redirection for the Volcarona if you want to go set up stuff. You can also just go like Heat Wave and Sun is going to be fairly strong. Sorry, I just got a text, but it's fine. I mean, you have your fast mode with like Venusaur and Sun. You just have a lot of really fun stuff with this team. I think it's very cohesive, which I feel like is huge here. Hisuian Braviary is one mon that, hold on, I think it's fairly slow if I remember correctly. Could be wrong, but I think it's like 65, yeah. It's fairly slow, but you do have Esper Wing, which boosts speed. You have Tinted Lens or Sheer Force, I suppose. So they're both good abilities yet again. Although those ones are less of a guessing game because you can kind of figure it out and you're not really too concerned about which one it is. But it is two abilities that you can just pick from and decide what you want, which is just more options the better in draft. So I think this team is fairly strong. Like it's very cohesive, which I like, but it is also gonna be tough to like, or it's gonna be tough to deal with just counters. Like if you play into like a rain team, what is your answer? Your answer is like Amoonguss, Venusaur, I guess. But into rain, like without Terra, especially like if you could Terra Grass the Volk, that would be a little different. Which I guess I'm doing this. I guess we'll take a look to see if there is any like hard rain teams. I believe there was, yeah. So like your matchup into somebody like Ronald seems pretty tough to me. Like what do you really do into like Pelipper? I guess it's something that you'll have to sort of figure out, but I think even with like a rough matchup in other weathers, I think it is still fairly strong. I think because of that rough matchup and just like it's very cohesive, but it's almost too cohesive to where like you have to be running your Sun Trick Room mode, because there's not a ton of other options for the team to pivot. So I think for that reason, I think I'm gonna put it like a high B tier. The logo for the Golurks. I'll try it again. Guaynabo Golurks. Patrick, let me know how off I was, please. I'm curious. I might look it up afterwards. So I do feel bad. Or put this in like mid B tier. All right. Next up, we have Casey's team, which is the Area 51. So let me grab that real quick. For Team Area 51. Incineroar. Yeah, so Incineroar, Signature Peliphan, again, sort of similar to the Jake, where you take your Fire Water Grass off rip and you just build around that. I think that's a fairly strong, just like way to build. I think having your Fire Water Grass just locked in and then you just get your other fun stuff around that seems really strong to me. So I think those three do the job really well, especially like you want to be pivoting with Incineroar anyways. You want to be pivoting for hospitality stuff. So having a Palafin that also wants to pivot makes sense to me. So just those three pivoting back and forth and just doing funny stuff seems pretty good. Gardevoir, is there any? I guess you have telepathy for like a Mamoswine stuff, which seems fairly strong. But other than that, I'm not super convinced on the Gardevoir. I guess I'll see. Just double checking stats real quick. I guess it is a little stronger than I thought it was. I thought it was like 115, but it's actually 125. So it is a little stronger than I thought it was. So it is actually something you have to respect a little more. Suigudra does the Suigudra stuff. Set up nasty, just body pressure user and like similar to base Gudra. It's very specially tanky, and it's great mon all around. Jolteon, it's pretty good. Like just anything with that sort of like a type immunity is always good, especially like something like electric. Like you do have a Mamoswine, but you do also like you have your Palafin to protect, you have your Flamingo protect. So just having an electric pivot that can also just like click Volt Switch, it can click Thunderbolt, it can click Calm, it can click Shadow Ball. Like it's just like it's a fairly strong mon that just seems like it fits well here, I think. Speaking of Flamingo is one mon that I think a lot of people going into the draft sort of pinned as being very like undervalued in terms of points, and I think Casey takes good advantage of that here. Like just having scrappy fighting type moves on a mon that or against mons that can't Terra out of like say a Golden Go can't Terra out of it seems fairly strong, especially on something fast like Flamingo. Like fighting flying type is really good. You add Scrappy to the mix, you add not being able to Terra to the mix. I think that's pretty good. I think that's a really good pick here. Mamoswine is another one I'm going to be biased towards because I also picked it, but I think it's fairly strong. I think it's a really good mon. Like just having that coverage is really good, especially in the stuff again that can't Terra. Like being able to pin, you can pin so many stuffs with like Icicle Crash, High Horsepower, and Heavy Slam. Like those three moves give you so much coverage. It's actually kind of nasty. Like you have Oblivious, you also have like another thing where you have choices of abilities. Like you have Oblivious, you have Thick Fat. It's just two really good abilities that you can just like you'd either intimidate and stuff like into opposing intimidate users, or you can run Thick Fat. Like a Thick Fat Assault Vest for me last season was so disgustingly nasty. Like you tank like Volcarona overheats and stuff like that. Like it's so disgusting. Wheezing, I don't really know. That's something I don't really know what the Wheezing is doing here, and I could just be missing something, which is definitely like a possibility. So I've done that in the past. But Wheezing I don't really get. Like you don't have any like good abusers that like want to. I mean, I guess it's just doing it to shut down opposing abilities, and it does that job fairly well. It doesn't have any like insane abusers of its own, like a Slaking. But I think that's still completely fine. I think it's still a decent mon. Like it's physically tanky. It has Will-O-Wisp. It has poison damage. It does the job. And last but not least, Low Kicks. Low Kicks is cool. Tinted Lens First Impression Sucker Punch is just like having so many priority moves that can just hit something for so much damage is really, really nice. Like even off of just 102 attack, Tinted Lens kind of makes up for that. Like you get especially a Stab U-turn as well is also really nasty. We'll see how many times it gets brought this season, but I think it is a fairly decent mon that is worthy of at least a little bit of respect when you're building. And even just like the value of First Impression to me isn't even just like First Impression is sort of like Fake Out and like it sort of forces the opponent to protect. So because of that, you can like not even click it and just pivot. And I think that's really, really strong. So yeah, I think Low Kicks feels like a really good like late pick for this team. It's just like nice coverage. It gives you some dark coverage when you need it. It gives you bug coverage, which isn't needed, but it can do the job. And I think it's a good pick. Overall, I'm gonna say I think this seems probably for me a high B tier, maybe low A, but I think I'm gonna go high B for now. That was Area 51. So, but we'll put them high B tier. All right, next team, Big Oog. Or the Big OOG. We'll go with Big Oog. Put this here. All right. So we have Alola Ninetales, their first pick. Seems fairly decent. It's fairly strong, self-supporting. Like it sets its own weather and clicks Blizzard, clicks Moonblast, Aurora Veil. It's fairly strong. It is in this format. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely convinced on it being like your first pick, but I think it is still fairly strong. It's one of those mons that like, I don't know. It does a job, but there's also sometimes where it can feel kind of underwhelming as like the star of your team. So I think there are some good options around here like that sort of make up for that. Like you have the sorry, not snow cloak, although it does have that, but usually be running slush rush. The bear tick seems like a fairly strong attacker that goes with that. So that seems fairly strong to me. Dozo and Tatsugiri, obviously nasty. It's nasty and it's annoying to play against, but it is also like in draft you're going to be playing against teams that are specifically picking up a haze user just for this matchup. Like the week before they play them. So it is a little difficult to make work, but it is something that like you don't even have to bring it, and it just forces people to team build for it. So I think that is a fairly strong like thing about this. I remember last season Tatsugiri was really expensive, so you didn't. I don't know if anybody took the combo, but I'm glad to see somebody did this year and sort of forces the people to respect it. Palmont, really strong mon, like just having really strong like double shock CC fake out is really good. Plus nuzzle. It just seems fairly good to me. It's a good pickup for this team. It does damage. It clicks fake out. Plus, I guess can you do some funny stuff with like revival blessing Dozo? That's interesting, because you get hazed away and then it dies, and then you just bring it back later after you kill the haze user. And there's a thought to be had there. It's probably something that's really difficult to like actually pull off, but it can happen. Rabombi, who's like a really strong mon. Fast equivalence user, has good stats. Or has like decent special attack, decent speed. Plus shield dust is broken ability. Just the built-in cover cloak is insanely strong. Chandelure, amazing mon. Again, like 145 special attack is gonna take names. It's always gonna take names, especially off Shadow Ball and Flamethrower or even Fire Blast if you want to get crazy with it. Similar vein, another fire type, but two very different fire types, so I think it's fine. Hisui Arcanine, phenomenal Intimidate mon. Again, another one that another mon that I'm a little biased towards because I also took it. But Hisui Arcanine is a phenomenal mon. Like you throw a band on that guy, it does so much damage. You throw a citrus on the guy, and it's an amazing support, and still does so much damage. Just Flare Blitz, Rock Slide, disgusting. You don't even have to run Intimidate. You can run Rockhead into stuff that's like has like a opposing Defiant or competitive user, and Rockhead does a phenomenal job as well. Tatsugiri, I already talked about with Dozo, but it's a fairly decent mon. Plus, if you want to get crazy with it, if you're playing into like a rain team, you can run Storm Drain and just forget Dozo. Meowscarada is a good late pickup. I think it's a fairly strong grass type. And just like very self-supportive, which I think is good for something like a Dozo. Like it cleans up. It either cleans up after or it weakens everything before Dozo gets in. So it does that job fairly well. The Bear Tick, which I already mentioned. Furret exists. I guess it's similar to the Centron and Liam's team earlier, where it just sort of it's a sash user probably. I don't think. Yeah, it has pretty crappy bulk, so it's just a sash user that has follow me. Does a job, and then Sawsbuck exists. I mean, having 3 like good abilities is okay. Like Chlorophyll, you're not going to take advantage of here, but if you're playing into Sun team, you could. Sap Zipper is really nice. Like having a grass immunity, something you can't really get anywhere, so it is fairly decent. Serene Grace Headbutt is maybe not the most optimal, but it is very silly, and I would love to see it come up at some point. So yeah, there is that team. That was Big Oog's Slow Bros. So I think that's with the Dozo Giri mode and the Ninetales mode. I think it is a little like I don't know, because I feel like you're very much playing into the fact that like if you're playing another weather team, like especially if you're playing like a rain team, I guess you do have Storm and Tatsugiri for that, but it is like it feels very difficult to like bring a Ninetales into that because you're always gonna be the faster mon pretty much. So that's tough. Like having mons that can counter team you for the Dozo Giri seems pretty tough as well. I think for that reason, this is gonna be my my second C tier team. Although I think it does have the potential to definitely take some names and definitely prove me wrong. Because like I could be completely wrong on the amount of haze users in this format, the amount of Clearspawn users. But I do think it is like it's strong, but it's also very counterable, I guess is how I would describe it. But I think it is still you do still have to respect it. All right, next up we have Rockwell. He made the finals last season, I believe, unless I'm misremembering. So definitely made me have to respect. And I mean, he's put together another really strong team here. Like you have the earlier Saluna picks, Makes sense. I think I've seen Rockwell run Ursaluna in a couple draft leagues now, or at least in a lot of different things. So it makes sense. Ursaluna's a really strong mon, and he seems to enjoy it, so makes sense. Like you have guts. It's just it does disgusting damage, especially when not everyone has an intimidator. So I think that's a really strong pickup. Obviously, you have the Magmar like follow me support for it. You have the Oranguru Trick Room for it. Like his team is definitely built around the Ursaluna, and I think it's a really strong way to build this team. They have the Kamo, you have the Grimmsnarl as well. Like Kamo, there's another one that just like sets up and does disgusting damage. Grimmsnarl stops you from doing disgusting damage, and also like good attacker on its own. Like I think Grimmsnarl is generally like in VGC. I think it's generally like one dimensional. Like it clicks, reflect, light screen, parting shot, and T-wave, and that's about it. But I think in draft there's a lot more value to be put in like an AV set or like a Life Orb set, where you're not really clicking. You don't even have to run Prankster. Like I had it last season. I ran Frisk a couple times, and it's just like it has like a 120 attack. So it's a fairly strong mon, like even without Prankster, and even if you don't need a support role for some specific matchup. Speaking of support roles, Gyarados is, I mean, it's one of the best in the biz, and it has been for like 20 years now. So it does Gyarados things. It intimidates things. It clicks Dragon Dance if it wants to. If it doesn't want to, it can click like Helping Hand, T-Wave, occasional Waterfall. Like it's a very good like just pivot, bulky, and it fits with the Fire, Water, Grass core. Oranguru I mentioned, but it's just a good Trick Room user, or Trick Room setter. Like it's fairly decently bulky and has good abilities, and just things along those lines. Abomasnow. I think I do like that pick more than the Alola Ninetales pick, just because of how much later it is. Like you get the Aurora Veil for so much cheaper. So that's where the value in this pick comes from for me. Plus it also adds like part of your Fire, Water, Grass core. So I think that is a fairly strong pick here. Yanmega, it's an interesting pick. Gets Tinted Lens, obviously, gets speed boost. Plus you have like Hypnosis if you want to get a little crazy with it. Plus I think, pretty sure Tailwind, yeah. Like 95% sure. Yes, you do have Tailwind. Comfy, also Tailwind user. You probably won't see it too much. Comfy's an interesting mon. I think it's a decent support mon. It does its job fairly well. I think there's not a ton to be said about it. It's comfy. It does comfy things. Literally, I guess, when it's healing you. Then finally Frostmoth, who you have to respect all the time just because Ice Scale is such a nasty ability. It just makes you so tanky, and you just like, if it clicks Quiver Dance on you one too many times, you don't have any physical mons, you just lose. I think it's something you have to respect and have an answer for. For that reason, I think Rockwell, probably another A tier, probably high A tier. I think Rockwell is really good at piloting teams like this, like just like a team that has a general like theme to it, but it can also do a lot of funky stuff with it, like weird Grimmsnarl sets or like weird Komodo sets or stuff like that. And it's just like it feels like a very Rockwell team, and I think for that reason it's gonna be my highest A tier yet. So this was the, hold on, I forgot the team name. I'm so sorry, Rockwell. The Good Gagujas. They are a high A tier for me. Potentially low S tier. Again, we'll see if I should end up shifting anything around. Next up, Curry Puff with the Cursed Curry Stunfisks. So, let's grab this team real quick. And immediately, this is one of the teams that... Oh, sorry. This is one of the teams that got a lot of moans and groans when you see Alolan Muck and Smeargle. But it's one of those things that's also like similar to Dozukiri. It's something that like is much easier to plan for in draft rather than in like just running into it on ladder. So I think that kind of does weaken the strength of this a bit. But you do have like an Annihilate with the Whimsicott. You can do like beat up stuff with that. So it is fairly strong, and obviously Smeargle can do whatever it wants regarding beat up. So it can also set up the Annihilate. So that's fairly strong if you have like the beat up Tailwind from the Whimsicott. The Metagross does Metagross things. It does pretty disgusting damage with Heavy Slam, Stun Headbutt, etc. Gastrodon, I think having like this is really good mon into like something like the Rain team I mentioned earlier. Like it's really good into like an Archaludon Rain team, because you can just like your immunity Electro Shot. You don't take a ton from like a Dragon Pulse or Draco Meteor, etc. Like you're doing good damage back with Earth Power, etc. You have Charizard, so you run like Sunny Day Whimsicott stuff. If you want another way of shutting down opposing weather and just setting your own weather if you want. It's fairly good. It's Charizard. It clicks Heat Wave, clicks Flamethrower, clicks Overheat. In Sun, Oko is Resists. That's just what Charizard does. Belly Bolt is a silly goober. who's pretty tanky, honestly. A lot more tanky than I always remember. But it's, I don't know, it's one of those mons that like feels like it should be like it can have a decent support role, but if I remember correctly, it doesn't get great coverage. Like you get like muddy water, I think, and that's about it, unless I'm completely missing stuff. That knowledge just comes from Ranbat, so maybe it runs stuff other than that. I'm not 100% sure. Hisui Zoroark is a pretty strong mon. Especially, I guess you'd already have a ghost type. We don't have any normal types, so just having one of those on the team. Or you have Sandler, but I think that's a mon that you're not going to bring a ton. So having something like Hisui Zoroark that's fairly strong and just like a good normal ghost type, just like a very unique typing that covers a lot of things. Seems fairly good. And also, I forgot about Smeargle as a normal type, but Smeargle's typing doesn't exist defensively. But I think Hisui Zoroark, especially that late in the draft, seems like a very strong pick. And then the last two, Sandler and Flygon, I'm not going to put too much weight into. Like, I think those are mons you might see maybe once or twice, but I don't think they come up like on a week-to-week basis like the rest of the team. But yeah, I think his team is fairly strong, even if I'm not super convinced on the Alolan Muck plus Miracle version of the team working out. But I think the Annihilate version. Sorry. I think the Annihilate version of the team can put pretty big damage out there. I think it is something you have to respect, as well as like the Whimsicott Charizard stuff. I think Whimsicott is sort of what makes the gears in the team turn. And I think for that reason, I think they're going to be probably a high B tier from me. So this was Curry's team, the Curse Curry Stunfisks. We'll put them as a high B tier. Next up, we have Stout Gaming's team, the Alexandria Arcanines. So let's grab that real quick. Alright, so immediately we see their first pick was Tyranitar, which is interesting. Love that guy. It's a really a fun mon. It's like absurdly tanky. It's just disgusting. Then you have something like the DD Female. Okay, it took me a second because I didn't realize the question mark, but you do have your Psychic Terrain Setter for Delphox and Hatterene. I think that's a really strong mode for this team. Your Drifblim round 3 pick I don't 100% understand. I guess you do run like Psychic Seed and Bird and stuff, which is kind of cute, but it is still a Drifblim, even if it's a fast Drifblim. But it does exist. You have to respect it occasionally. I think the main issue with Drifblim for me is like you're relying on such like weak stabs. Like you're running in Shadow Ball, Air Slash, both 80 base power or less, which generally kind of stinks. So you do get like Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split just to be annoying. So I think it is like one of those mons that like feels like it like has some cool stuff on paper, but it's just like it's really let down by its move pool and like its actual attacking moves, rather than like it has a good like decent status. But it's kind of let down by its stabs. Hariyama is fairly good mon, although it's again like sort of a reach at the 4th pick, I believe. But I mean, it's one of those ones that has 3 really good abilities, so you can choose what you want to run. It's fairly strong. So it's fairly not one dimensional. Sorry, it's like it does a lot. Does a lot of different things, but it's not super like strong in any of them, I don't think. Like it has, you can run like gut stuff, but it's just you already have to have Trick Room for it. Basically, it's so slow that you need it. So it is sort of like not insanely strong in that regard, but I think it is still a decent mon and a decent pick. Delphox Hatterene, I mentioned it quickly, but I mean those are mons that click Expanding Force. This gamer clicks Helping Hand, and if Trick Room's up, this gamer clicks Expanding Force. Trick Room is not up, this gamer clicks Expanding Force. So those mons do their thing. Delphox clicks Heat Wave occasionally. Hatterene clicks Dazzling Gleam apparently occasionally. Those are just like your 2 different modes. I believe check on Trick Room users. Yeah, so you have Drifblim and Trick Room, I guess, as well. So it sort of works as like a mixed like tail room. Like you can set either with the same mon, which is a cool like little niche that not a lot of mon get. Not a lot of mons get those 2. Sorry, my brain's a little fried. It's been a while talking about Pokemon. Next one. Alright, so we'll move on. Next mon, Rotom Mo, is a fairly solid pickup. I picked up something pretty similar to this, or I picked up the same mon. Sorry, again, brain's fried. I also picked Rotom Mo. Like it's having to rely on Leaf Storm as your only grass move does kind of suck, but it is also like it's very versatile mon. Just because you can run so many different things and they're all going to be decent. Like you can run Citrus and just be like insanely bulky Will-O-Wisp user. You can run Specs and just be like do a ton of damage. You can run Scarf and just be fast like Volt Switch with it. I think it's something that is just like a very strong mon. So I'm very interested in seeing like how somebody else uses it. My Logic is like it's a competitive user, and when you have a T-Tar, you have a Hariyama, you have Haxorus, you have Houndstone. Like you have stuff that doesn't want to get intimidated. So having a Milotic here seems fairly good. It also is your water type, so I think Milotic's decent here. I'm generally not a huge Milotic believer, but I think it is still a good mon. So I think it is a fairly solid pickup, especially that late in the draft. Houndstone is just I think it's the only sand abuser here. Yeah, I guess you also have like Overcoat Rev Room, which helps. So you don't take sand damage, but it is Houndstone is your primary sand abuser here, and you can just get like similar to Vascular Legion, you just have fast late game last respects. It's fairly decent, and on games like where you don't need the sand rush, you have Fluffy, which is also just another amazing ability. Haxorus is just has a lot of attack. Haxorus. It's not a lot else to say about Haxorus. It clicks Outrage. Click Swords Dance occasionally, click Skill Shot. Rev Room, you have Shift Gear. Shift Gear is a really good move. It's a move that I wish we saw more often in VGC because it's just like Dragon Dance, but you get another speed, which is a cool like concept, and it's just like it's very on very few mons, but it is also incredibly strong, and you have to respect it. Also, Overcoat is a really good ability. Filter, what does it do? I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's decent. Yeah, you take less from super effective. So, I mean, you take less from fire moves, you're still going to die to ground moves. But you take less from fire, which is decent. But you're probably running Overcoat in most matchups. So that seems fairly strong to me. I think this team feels pretty cohesive. Like you have a couple different modes. Like you have your sand mode, you have like your trick room mode, you have your trick room size spam, you have your tailwind size spam, you just have your regular size spam. You have your Rotom stuff to just be funky with it. I think this team has a lot of different options, and I think like that sort of versatility I really, really value in draft. So I think we're gonna put this in like probably low. We'll go with low A tier, I believe. So this is Stout Gaming. This is the Alexandria Arcanians. Lastly, it's Keon Sayon. So we'll grab his team. Take a look at that. I think this is like just off rip. I'll say it off rip. I think this is by far the strongest team in Miraidon. Like I think this core just seems so incredibly like ridiculous to me. Like probably to Ludicolo as your third and fourth pick. Like you have your Rain Setter and you have your really good Swift Swim user. You have like your fake out Swift Swim user that just has good grass coverage as well. You have Elements to click Hurricane and Rain. I think it is a team that's obviously seems very reliant on Rain, but I think it has options outside of that. Like you have your Glamora for outside of Rain, you have your Sidesor. Salamence is good with or without Rain. Gengar is good outside with or without Rain. Gallade's good for Trick Room mode with like you have Alcremia for decorate stuff. You have Magmortar. I honestly don't need to say a ton about this team because I think it is fairly strong overall. Like Indeedee is strong, and Salamence is strong, Politoed's strong, Ludicolo is strong. Like these are all like I think these ones are all ones that I can see getting brought, and Torterra's decent as well. Like I think these are just like so many really, really good mons. I think he built a really strong team that doesn't really have any major, like I'm not seeing any, like maybe your matchup into stuff that's like other weathers or shutting down your weathers is going to be a little rough, but I think it is still something like you can lean into that Trick Room mode and you can find easily work to a win. So I think this is going to be like I said I think it's the strongest team, so it's got to be S tier. I think it's going to be the top of S tier. So yeah, there is our final tier list. Hopefully my camera isn't blocking it or anything like that. But yeah, I'm going to end it there, and feel free to yell at me in the replies. All right, bye-bye.